am headed out the door, but I had to stop because I wanted to tell you guys about the strangest breakup that I've ever had. And that is when I broke up with someone that I loved because God told me to. And this absolutely meant that I was the villain, public enemy number one in this person's eyes. But because of that obedience, what followed was truly unexpected. So, the names in this story have been changed to protect the innocent. Let's call this man Jacob. So, Jacob and I were together for approximately a year or so. We met online, like all millennials and Gen Zers do these days. And everything was going well. He honestly was a really good dude. We had some things in common, not everything, but we had some things in common, and we got along really well. He was truly committed to the relationship, and so was I. I did not have concerns of him cheating. You know, it wasn't like he was slapping me upside my head. He wasn't disrespectful. And so that's what made it so strange when I was so uncomfortable in the relationship. And I couldn't quite figure out why. But it kept pulling and nagging at me that this just wasn't what I was supposed to do. And I realized that that pull was God saying, you don't need to be with this person. And you should probably cut it off before you get in too deep. Of course, when I heard this, I didn't listen to God. I didn't listen, honey. I ignored God for months. Matter of fact, I ignored God for a whole year and some change. But the nag never left. And I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do that. I'm thinking, why? I don't even have a good reason. When the man asks me why I'm breaking up with him, I'm just supposed to say, because God told me to. He's going to look at me so crazy. No one's going to understand that. Like, there has to be something else that I can do. I didn't want to be the bad person to him. I didn't want to be wrong. I was also scared that, okay, you're asking me at this big old age to break up with a decent prospect. What's going to come after that, Lord? Like, is your girl destined to be a nun? Like, what are we talking about? So, I didn't want to do it, which is why I ignored him for a year. But he kept nagging and he kept nagging. And I was negotiating with God. I was like, you know what? If you set it up just like this scenario, I could be more comfortable breaking up with him. Not thinking that that was actually going to happen. Well, God being God, he set it up in that exact scenario. And he was like, so what you gonna do, boo? And I said, oh. So my obedience was being put to the test. And y'all know what I did? I obeyed. And I broke up with him. And you know what happened? I was public enemy number one. He was confused. He was upset. He didn't get it. Friends didn't get it. Family didn't get it. To be quite honest, I didn't even fully get it. Other than the fact that, listen, I had to do what the Lord told me to do. I needed to be obedient in that moment. And despite this fallout, one morning I wake up and I felt nothing. There wasn't relief. There wasn't happiness. It was just this unexplained peace. And that's when I knew. That's when I knew that I had done the right thing and that that was my gift from God. Yes, obedience is hard. Obedience is extremely challenging. I learned that obedience can make you the enemy to many. But despite all of that, that peace that surpasses all understanding, that peace that only God can give after something so challenging, that was God's way of saying, well done, my good and faithful servant. You did what I asked you to do, and your reward is this unexplainable peace. And even more so, I realized that the foundation of that peace came from being in true alignment with God. And y'all, it was really nothing like it. There's really nothing like that feeling. And it was so worth it in the end. So I would love to know from you guys, is there something that you know God has been calling you to be obedient to that you're just sitting on? I would love to hear your story in the comments. I'm Nakia Shea, and I create content around building a life that God designed for you. If this resonated with you at all, please share. I would love, love, love to hear your stories. Be blessed.